I'm ready now.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna allow this song to play a bit, then we.
You are listening to Capital Breakfast. Capital Breakfast, shaping your day.
Good morning. This is Capital Breakfast, the Tuesday's edition, with Perry up until the hour 9. At this point in time, we're going to get into our first interview of the morning. We will be speaking to, Democratic Party Deputy Youth Chairperson, as well as he's also aspiring candidate as a councillor in Kanyama Ward 10. And this is no other than Mr. Simukoko Lazarous. Welcome to Capital Breakfast, and thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much, and good morning to our listeners.
All right, so we have a number of issues to talk about. In as far as the Democratic Party is concerned, we are headed towards an election period, politically charged. So many political parties are speaking, getting their message across, and as far as what they would do differently to make Zambia a better place. Before we get into the thick of things, for some who might not know you, tell us about yourself. Who is Simukoko Lazarous?
Simukoko Lazarous is the person who was born in the Copper Belt in the year of 2003, specifically on the 5th January in 2003, the same year. I started my first primary school in Luano Basic School, which is within the Copper Belt, which is Chingola. From there, I moved into Lusaka, and then I started my grade 7 at the school called the Rentvos Christian Secondary School within Kanyama constituency. From there, grade 9, I did it from that school, which is the very same school in the year of 2015. And 2018, I wrote my grade 12. Up to now, I'm now doing my Bachelor's of Arts in Economics at the Information and Communications University.
Interesting. Now, I think you're quite young. You were born in 2003. What has inspired you at a young age to join politics?
Well, I think I thought that from the way to go, I'm going to have that privilege, or I've got that privilege or that advantage to be into politics. This is because I understand how many people have been marginalized, how many people in Zambia have been left out. And then from there, when you look at the population of this country, those people who are 25 years and below, it is constituting 60% of the people who are living in Zambia. And then I said, we have got such a huge number of youths, but when you look at the presentation itself, we have got less than 2% in parliament. And that is why I said the only way these issues can be addressed is by myself getting involved. Because I understand the challenges which these youths are facing in Zambia. I understand these challenges which the people of Zambia are facing. And from there, that is the main thing that prompted me to join politics. Only when I take a step, that is when certain things can be solved. Only when that young person takes a step, that is when other problems of other people can be solved.
Let's talk about the Democratic Party, which is relatively a new party.
Yes.
Under the leadership of Mr. Harry Kalava, former Foreign Affairs Minister. What is the mandate of the DP party, the Democratic Party? What do you stand for, and what is your general message to the Zambian people?
Our general message to the Zambian people is about industrialization. Let us look at these facts which are here. When you look at this country, we have got a lot of raw materials, yet we export them in their raw form. But for us in the DP, we believe that only when we start processing things like gold, we start processing things like copper, that is when Zambia can be okay. Even when you look at how this country is as of now, when you look at the clothes that we are wearing, when you look at all this juice that we are taking, all of them are coming from countries like Malawi, countries like South Africa. But we in the Democratic Party believe that the dignity of every country lies in its manufacturing, lies in its production. Long long then, before we had this money to come on board, we were using barter system of trade, and that is why if you have got a cow, your other person has got a home or a house, you were exchanging using those things. Meaning for Zambia to be trading, it needs something to trade with. And what is that thing? Copper. Of course we have copper, but is that copper bringing in enough revenue? The problem as to why it is not bringing in enough revenue, this is because copper is exported in its raw form, and later on they sell us this neck chains, they sell us this necklace, they sell us this chains that we have in this country, and then that is as a result of copper. But if we begin processing copper in this country and exporting it, exporting the products that will be making from that copper, Zambia will be okay. Let us look at the civil servants in this country. Civil servants have accumulated debt. The debt that they have accumulated, they are even failing. They have lost their dignity. The only way they can be able to do that, immediately Democratic Party comes into power, we are going to cancel their debt. And when you cancel their debt, they are going to start afresh, and Zambia will be okay. Let us look at the tourism sector itself. Zambia has got a lot of tourism sectors, but they have been neglected, they have been abandoned. The best we can do is by making sure that when we create these industries, all those unemployed youths in this country, all those unemployed people, industries are going to be created based on the favorable condition of a province. When we come to Lusaka, we can put up a manufacturing company here which will be making clothes. When we go to provinces like Western Province, which has got a lot of sand, if we put up an industry in that area which will be making grass, and that can be used to put up these window screens, all those can be able to be made. When we look at the domestic tourists in this country, the government only complains to say no, they don't visit these tourism sectors, they don't do that because they don't have money. The only way they can have their money is by making sure that there is an increment and they've got a place where they can be working. That's when Zambia can be okay. Right. But today, just a minute, today in this country, we have got mango. We fail to make mango juice. We have got all these things that we make, yet we are failing to make our own wine. We are failing to make all that. Long then, when Coca-Cola and Fanta were worked off in the market of Zambia, we had tip-top drinks. Those were there. I don't know if you can recall. Those drinks were there. They were manufactured locally. When that company came and bought shares, that is when drinks like tip-top were removed. When you look at Zambia currently, it is only governed by trade schemes when it comes to these economical issues or in terms of these manufacturing things. The boom that we are talking about in these shops, we are buying them there. We have got our own farmers in this country, yet we are exporting vegetables from Malawi, vegetables from South Africa. What about our local farmers? And that is why, that is the message of Democratic Party.
All right. You've spoken about the message.
Yes.
I'd like you to give us 5 practical things. 5. Just 5.
Yes.
That the DP party will do if you form government this year in the general elections coming up in August. 5 practical things.
First, it's unemployment. And I've already said that you are going to end unemployment by making these manufacturing industries. Secondly, Zambia will stop importing things. Only those necessary things or those things which at least today we are importing almost everything. That is what we are going to do. Zambia will stop importing things and we are going to be exporting. Thirdly, we are going to ensure that there are increments on these salaries of these people who are working. Third, when you look at the fourth point now, we are going to cancel the debt for these unemployed people. The other part which is there now, it's about land. What we are going to do today in this country, people are called the Zambians, yet they are only the squatters. Yet you have got a huge land. This land is only occupied by these squatters. Immediately coming into power, what you are going to ensure that immediately one who has an NRC, that person is supposed to be given a title, so that even when you are employing, you know that a person I'm employing is a Zambian because he has got a residency. But today, only the few Zambians are owning houses. Those are the 5 practical things that we are going to look at.
Your president, the DP president, Mr. Harry Kalaba, was in government as Minister of Foreign Affairs, and he held different positions as well.
Yes.
He later resigned to form his own political party. What things does he want to do now that he couldn't do then when he was in government?
That is a very good question. The best answer I'm going to give you there is this one. When you are moving in a bus, when you are moving in a bus, you have got a driver, you have got a conductor and passengers. A president is like a driver. Is the person who decides which route to use and which direction you should move to. Those passengers, of course, they know where they want to take the country, and that is why Mr. Arikarawa joined PF, because he understood the principles or the manifesto which Mr. Sata brought on board. The issue of lower taxes, the issue of more money in people's pockets, and what, and more and more jobs. Those are the things that the political party stood for. But the problem is, immediately you realize to say, no, this driver is taking us in a wrong way. We are supposed to say, no, you go and board another bus. And that is what I can explain there. Immediately you realize that this kind of a person who we have in this government has started diverting from the things which they stood for from the way to go. It becomes a challenge. Today in this country, we have got about 18 million Zambians. 18 million Zambians. According to the Labor Force Survey of 2017, only 2.9 Zambians are working. When you look at countries like Uganda's registered voters were more than 18 million, meaning more than the total population of this country. Uganda's population is 44 million, and Nigeria's population is 102 million. Now, Zambia, whose population is 18 million, is facing the issue of unemployment. What about when we reach to 44 million? Where are we going to be? And that is why the Democratic Party is on board. We want to ensure that we industrialize this nation. We secure the lives of other people. Zambia will only be called a better place if that person who is in these areas is able to access education, is able to access good medical care, and is willingly to interact, is freely interacting with any person, and can be able to say anything at any time minus any intimidation. That is when Zambia can be called a better place. And that person should be able to find a job immediately that person wants to work. But today in this country, a lot of people are not working. I've given you a survey which was conducted in the year of 2017 by the Labor Force Survey. And that is why in this country only 2.9 million are working. When you look at Malawi's population is 18.8 million. 80% of that number is 14.9 million. And those are the people who are working only in agriculture. Malawi doesn't have gold. They don't have copper. They don't have all these natural resources that we have. The only thing that they have, or which they depend on mainly, it's agriculture. And they employ the 80%, which is 14.9 million Malawans who are working only in agriculture. In Zambia, we have got agriculture. We have got gold, we have got copper. If these minings are put up, all these Zambians can be working minus anyone living home minus a job. When you look at Singapore doesn't have any natural resources. They don't have any minerals. They don't have gold. They don't have copper. But they understood that its natural resources lies in its people. And that is how they started improving the skills of those people. Today when you look at Singapore is able to export things like computers. These phones that we are using, many of them are coming from Singapore. Singapore, which got independence in 1965. Zambia got its independence in 1964. When you look at these things, in 1965, Zambia's GDP per capita income was 65 US dollars. When you look at Singapore's GDP per capita income in 1965 was 63 US dollars. Meaning Zambia was doing so much fine during in 1965 more than Singapore. But today Singapore is among the leading economies in this world. Where did we go wrong as a nation? The problem lies only in one area, which is leadership. Immediately we solve the issue of leadership, we remove those leaders who are selfish and put up leaders who are selfless. Zambia is going to be okay. We need to see how we can succeed as a nation. But today the only thing that we are having in this country is mediocrity. People of Zambia have been taken to their waste. And that is why a president can wake up and say, when I hear somebody saying that we are suffering in this country, I laugh. What is there to laugh about? People are not having employment, people not having these jobs. That is the main point that we have.
Let's talk about, in case you're just joining in, this is Capital Breakfast, and we're joined by Simukoko Lazarous, Democratic Party Deputy Youth Chairperson, as well as aspiring candidate for Kanyama Ward 10. Let's talk about your aspirations to be councillor in Kanyama Ward 10, and your interest in that. Tell us about some of the challenges that you've noticed in Kanyama Ward 10 that you intend to address if you are elected as councillor over there in Kanyama.
The challenges that are there in Kanyama constituency are the challenges which even these people, all in this part, not only in Kanyama constituency, are facing. Today in this country, the people who are living in that constituency, Mr. Perry, the problem is that those people are only used when it's time for these political parties having their rallies, because they know they are going to get scatters from there, and they do what they. That is what we are saying. Those jokes will come to an end immediately the Democratic Party comes into power. There are challenges that are supposed to be addressed there. One of them is unemployment. Immediately you start empowering the youths in that area. Immediately you start empowering the youths of this country. It can be okay. Allow me to take you backward a bit. When you look at Nigeria, how Nigeria has managed to succeed, they have realized that any person can be able to contribute to the success of the country, despite of you not being educated, even if you have got those papers or those qualifications. That is why when you look at Nigeria has had to come up with Nollywood. That Nollywood, the government subsidized the production cost for those musicians, for those people involved in entertainment industry. And that is why today, when you look at that Nollywood, the government of Nigeria draws about 30% of its GDP from what? From Nollywood. That is the problem that we have. Immediately we start realizing that every person can be able to contribute something to the well-being of this country. Zambia can be okay. But today, even those people are from these universities, these people are from these schools, they are failing to get jobs. Why is it so? It's a person who is from UNZA, a person who is from CBU, a person who is from Mukuba University is failing to find employment. Why? What about that person who has never stepped foot in class? And that is why we are saying all those people will be doing our roads in this country. They are going to be coming from within this country. We have got civil engineers from UNZA. We have got civil engineers from CPU. Civil engineers from all these universities across this nation. And that is why, if we can put up a training center which will be teaching these people practical skills on how they can be able to do these roads, Zambia is going to be okay. When we have that, today we are importing manpower from China. Yet China is the country which is lending us money. Meaning the money that we are borrowing from China, it's going back to China because the people are doing that work. Despite of us borrowing that money to construct these inflated figures roads which we have in this country, it is going back to the people of China. But immediately we start using local contractors, people from UNZA, people from CBU, people from all these universities that we have, we are going to have a better country. Today in this country, we have got more universities than industries or companies which are employing. And as Democratic Party, we believe that the only way these challenges can be solved is by making sure that in as much as we have got more universities, we need to have more industries. Those industries, if they are put up, they are going to equalize the number of those people who are living from these universities to come and find employment in these industries. When they do so, clothes will be made locally. When you are buying clothes in this country, there are transportation costs. People are going to countries like Rwanda, countries like Congo, to go and buy their duvets, to go and buy their blankets. Yet we grow cotton in this country. Why can't we be making these things? If transportation costs are cut from all that, Zambians will be buying these things at a cheaper price. And that is why all those levies which they charge they will not be there, because those things will be made locally. And only when we start exporting these things, if we have enough in this country, Zambia is going to have enough foreign revenue in these universities, in these banks, in short, not universities, in these banks. When those revenues are there, Zambia's dollar per quarter rate will reduce. And that is why in this country, the reason as to why this dollar has escalated so much, this is because if you borrow from China, you borrow in dollars, you can't pay China in quarters. No, you have to go and exchange that quarter to dollar so that you start paying those people in dollars. And that is why if you have not enough dollar revenues in your banks, it will be difficult for you to pay back because you have no money to pay.
All right. I'm speaking to Simukoko Lazarous, Democratic Party Deputy Youth Chairperson, talking about the mandate of the Democratic Party as well as other issues. You've brought about the issue of unemployment, and you've spoken very strongly on bringing about, these industries and so on. Currently, we have hundreds of thousands of students that graduate from different learning institutions across the country every year. They are offloaded on the market, but they cannot find jobs. You have outlined that one way to do this is by creating industry. Now we need to be fair and understand that not every profession desires or requires an industry for them. For instance, in the medical field, journalism and communications, industries would not solve the issue of unemployment holistically. Give us the practical how. Give us the steps that you're going to use to tackle the issue of unemployment. And if you talk about industries, where is the money going to come from to invest in these particular industries?
That is a very good question. How those things are going to be solved, I've already stated here. These industries, if they are put up, of course, different people will be working in these industries. And that is why, if I can tell you today, the clothes that those marketeers are buying and selling, they are failing even to find capital because they are buying them at a higher price. Immediately they are produced locally. Even that person who has got less money or less money in that person's pocket, that person is going to find money to buy those things because they will be made locally. Apart from that, how we are going to make sure that we stabilize this? Remember, there is what we call a trickle-down effect. A trickle-down effect means if you are employed in a certain company, that simply means your children, your wife, your family will be benefiting from the salary that you will be getting. Immediately those people start benefiting. You are not going to have a child who be failing to go to school. You are not going to have a child who be failing to access basic needs. And when all that is done, those basic needs, they will be cheaper, which you will be looking for. And when they are cheaper, why are they going to be cheaper? Because dollar per quarter rate will stabilize. If it stabilizes, that marketeer or that person wants to go to China, that person not going to China to buy these blankets, not to go to China to go and buy those things, maybe for a tour. And even the domestic tourism sector will be appreciated. If it is appreciated, that person, if the quarter dollar rate reduces and that person is paid more, that person can easily use part of the money and remain with surplus. That surplus is the money that is going to use. That is the trickle-down effect which I'm talking about. These people are working here. When you have got an industry which is making things like boom, which is making things like detergents, which is making things like soap, those people will require medical practitioners to do what, or chemists in short. Those people will be making sure that they are doing what they can do so that we produce that boom, we produce those detergents, we produce that soap. It will be easier. And that is why I've given you an example. There are two sectors in this country, public sector and private sector. Immediately you stabilize the economy, the private sectors will start what? They will start improving. When they start improving, today as we are speaking, we have got a Standard Chartered Bank in the Copper Belt. Their branches have started closing. Why? This is because the economy is growing at negative 4.2%. Immediately you realize that you are in a negative form, meaning more companies are likely to close down, and the economical issues, they are not going to be running effectively. And the only way we can do so is by making sure that if we stabilize, there is a capital which one can be looking for to start this our own business. That business which that person will be starting, it will require workers, it will require people to be working in there. Immediately those people start working in there, that private individual start paying those workers, and those workers, that workers' family will start benefiting. That is how these things are played. And apart from that, not every person would wish to be in employment. We are going to give people enough empowerment funds. How are we going to do it? We are going to ensure that people who are going to be empowered are working hand in hand with the government. And when you are selling those goods, those services, or you have engaged yourself in a certain business, we are going to ensure that certain things that you cannot manage, like insuring your goods, insuring your services, they will be insured by the government. When you look at China, how China developed through agriculture, it's because the government of China signed a partnership with these companies which deal with tractors which can be able to farm. And immediately that government paid those companies. Those companies were going outside in those farmers' areas and helping them to farm. And now, it was the duty of the government to sign a partnership with those farmers to say, when you produce this kind of bags of maize or this kind of bags of these crops, we are going to get so much. Those are the things which China was exporting. And that is why China developed only through agriculture. today in this country. That is what we need. The empowerment we are going to give to these people, will be the empowerment where they are working hand in hand with the government. That's what Kwatanenson in Zambia. To produce 1 millionaire even to top this Southern Africa. Why is it so? We have failed to understand that development. Just a minute there, Mr. Perry. The problem that we have in this country, we want to develop a country, yet we forget that the people who can develop the country are the people who are living in it. As a result, we need to focus on the people living in a country for us to develop a country. Because if you have got more people begging in the streets, if you have got more people in these streets who are sleeping in these drainages, it will be hard for them. And that is why Wanawasa understood this, and we had to reach epic. What did he do? He introduced what? The Citizenship Empowerment Fund. And that is why those widows, those people who are begging the streets, those people who are selling talk time, they were able to get that money, and it was helping them. Meaning, during that time, if you are unemployed, the government was helping you with something per month. And today, we need to give these people tax holiday. When they go for a certain period of paying tax in different sectors, immediately they do so. They are going to revamp their situation. But in this country, when you look at the Local Government Act of 2019, that act is specifically tells us to say a cadre has got no authority to collect levies or this money they collect from marketeers, from these bus stations. What are those cadres doing there? That is stealing the people of Zambia's money. Immediately we have done that.
I need to get something from you.
Yes.
Concerning accountability, because I think that development is easier said than done.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in opposition, it's very easy to pinpoint what the government is not doing right and to say what you would do differently using words.
Yes.
But as DP, as the Democratic Party, what are you doing now? Before you form government, what programs, what initiatives are you working on to show us that, because the word of God says, to whom much is given, much is expected, but to the one who doesn't have, even the little he has will be taken away. So as the Democratic Party, what are you doing now with the resources you currently have, the members that you currently have? You've spoken about debt cancellation, youth empowerment, ending unemployment, the issue of land. What are you doing as a political party, as an organization? I understand
your point, and I didn't finish the question that you asked at first because you had to cut me.
Did take a
lot of
time.
Yes, I did take a lot of time because I wanted the people of Zambia to understand what we stand for and what we want to do for them. And that is why, and that is why when you see me, Mr. Trickle, when you see Democratic Party, we are not jokers. We don't joke with these issues. And that is why the question that you have asked me to say, what are you doing currently, so that we can see that as an example. Remember, in this country we have got a lot of people who are not working, a lot of people who are having this unemployment. These people are the people we are helping. Today I can't tell you the person we have helped because that person equally has got privacy. Equally that person
has. You can give us a number.
We can give you a number, yes. I can give you a number now. I can give you a number.
No, I'm saying the number
per province. Yes. Remember in this country, how many provinces do we have? We have got 10. Apart from that, we have got leaders in all across these places. Now, it is the mandate of those leaders who are there. Okay, we have managed to make sure that immediately there is a family which is lacking in these areas. They are helped. Immediately there is a place where there is a funeral, we help them. Why is it so? We are doing that because we can't leave people sleep minus eating. We can't let people sleep, go to that burial site and bury a person minus a coffin. And that is what we are working for. And we have managed to field in all the candidates who will be standing, both as councillors and MPs, including mayors. We have all done that. And that is why I have said, helping the people of Zambia now, it is not easy because equally we are just human beings who have got those resources which cannot benefit every Zambian. But immediately we come into office, those are the resources we'll be handling. We'll ensure that the person who has paid tax are people like you, people like those marketeers. As a result, we are going to be ensuring that those taxes, the money that we are getting from those marketeers, as a result of tax, we are going to be accountable with them. We are going to ensure that it is going back to them. And that is why in this country we are also going to make sure these by-elections, we are going to cancel them. And that is why many people have argued to say, no, you are yet to test the water, no, you don't participate in any by-election. We have told them to say by-election are a waste of money. How much money has Zambia spent just on by-election from 2016 up to date? It's a lot of money. If that money was used to construct that industry so that these people start working, it can be easy. But in this country, the problem that we have entirely is leadership. And those people say that no, this battle is between the two political parties, this one and that one. All those who are saying that they are reading a wrong script. And come 2021, in this August, we are going to carry the day.
All right. Now, we are running out of time, but I'm very interested in getting from you. I know that you're quite young and you occupy the position of Deputy Lusaka, youth chairperson.
Yes.
And from all indications, DP is a party that has prioritized engaging young people, giving them an opportunity to stand as councillors and MP and so on. What is the importance of youth participation, particularly meaningful youth participation in political parties? What is the importance of including young people in decision making and not just as cadres and cheerleaders and so on?
When Kaunda got its independence, this independence of this country in 1964, he was only 40 years old. He was quite young. Mr. Ali Karaba, he will be turning 45 this year, so he will be the next president, but at the age of 45 years. Now, when you have got young people occupying these positions, they will understand the challenges which their fellow young people are going through. Remember, I've already said to say those people who are 25 years and below in this country are constituting 60%. 60%, meaning the majority of the people in this country are the young people, the youths. Now, the problem that we have is that why is it that we have got a lot of youths in this country, yet they are less represented by that person who is also a youth? That is the only problem that we have. Apart from that, even the constitution that we have, it neglects the youth, because for one to contest as president is required to be 35 years and above. And that is why today in this country, the youth will occupy that position. The promises I'm giving you today, Mr. Perry, tomorrow when you come on this program, when you form into government, we inform government, and I know I'll be here just after August elections. I'm coming to tell you to say, sir, we have won. Tell me what I was saying there, which we are yet to do.
What makes you so confident that you will carry the day in August 2021, being a new party, of course? What specifically would you point out that makes you so confident that majority of the Zambian
DP alikwata abantu? It has got a lot of people. I'm telling you today.
On Facebook?
Both the people who are on the ground are the people who are on Facebook. You yourself, you're on Facebook, you have formed that account, you have formed all those things. You are there on Facebook, equally you're on the ground, not on Facebook. I'll tell you today to say, Mr. Adikara has been moving from village to village, meeting these people, and that is why we are saying we are the new majority. All those people saying that no, you winning it is not possible, you let them wait. They are going to face the shock of the day. Because even when you look at countries like Uganda, the person who was the main opposition there in this election that they had, that person stood for the first time, but he had to take the president to the limits. We are not going to take Mr. Lungu to the limits. We are above that level. We are going to carry the day. PF, we are beating PF. No matter what happens, PF, we are beating PF. Winning, we are winning. When we win. And that is why this battle is not about how long you have been contesting. No. It is about what kind of solutions do you have for the people who you want to lead. And that is why I'm here. I've told you, Mr. Perry, to say immediately come into office, we are going to create industries which will be making these goods, which will be making this service, which will be providing these services. And immediately those services are provided, the people of Zambia's challenges, they are going to end. So if they end, the people of Zambia will prosper.
We have run out of time. We need to move to another interview. But what is your message to the people of Kanyama and the Zambian people, generally? What is your message to them ahead of the 2021, August general elections?
For too long, Zambians have cried. For too long, Zambians have been entertained. And for too long, the people of Zambia have been taken advantage of. That is why immediately Democratic Party comes into power, the issue of unemployment will end. The issue of this debt which these civil servants have accumulated will end. In this country, the people of Zambia don't need money. What they need are adequate tools to use, because their money lies in their heads. And that is why if you want to empower a musician, put up a studio there. Money can't do anything for those people. Those people's talent is what will contribute to this economy. And that is why we are saying, immediately we come into power, industries will be created. Immediately we come into power, the debt for these civil servants will be cancelled. Immediately we come into power, Zambia will stop importing things. And immediately we come into power, all this lawlessness in this country will come to an end, because we are not going to tolerate it. And from there, the people of Zambia have a choice to choose leadership. For so long, Zambians have been crying. For so long, Zambians have sink so low, including the leadership of this country. And that is why we have got politicians who are only managing their own interests. When you put up a leadership which is selfless, like the leadership of Mr. Trickle, the leadership of Democratic Party, people who are competent enough, everything can be okay, because only these practical skills are the ones which are going to solve the Zambia's unemployment. If all that happens, Zambia will be a good nation.
Lazarous Simukoko, thank you so much for coming to Capital Breakfast. He is Democratic Party Lusaka Province Deputy Youth Chairperson, as well as aspiring candidate for Kanyama Ward 10. I wish you all the best, and I hope that after August 12th we can have a conversation, and you can tell us about you carrying the day. At the end of the day, you sound so confident, and we wish you all the best.
Absolutely, it was our pleasure and the pleasure of Democratic Party being here.
This is Capital Breakfast. Coming up very shortly, we'll be getting